Hello and welcome to Confronting Injustice. I am your host, Linda Solomon, and our co-host is James Watson, as we discuss the injustices of the criminal legal system. Our guest today is Denise Cosby, the founder of the Just in Time Initiative. Good morning and welcome for being here.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I recognize that this is a difficult topic for you and that you've sort of taken this tragedy and turned it into something meaningful. So why don't you just take a moment and introduce yourself?
Okay. I'm Denise Cosby. I lost my 21-year-old son, Justin Cosby, to murder in 2009. He was murdered on the grounds of Harvard University in Cambridge. Since that time, it was such a tragedy because he was my only son, my youngest child. We had a very close relationship. Since that time, I've worked with other parents who have lost their children to murder. Murder is something that is so traumatic that you just don't forget. You can lose yourself, you fall sometimes, you crash, you burn. But Justin lost his voice that day. He was only 21, and I've decided to become his voice. So I wanted to connect with others so they could share their memories of their children, and they could motivate them to get back up and to try to move forward, learn how to navigate the justice system, also keep the memories of their loved ones alive.
It gives me chills when you talk about that because it's so moving, it's touching. And you know, before you talk about the initiative that you started and the book that you wrote, the idea of trauma and how the idea that you actually made a decision to not get stuck and to do something proactive.
Yeah, it was not easy because of the location, Harvard University, where it happened at. Everything just went crazy. The news media, they didn't know my son. My son did not have a record. He was not someone that they would recognize. But everything went crazy, and the media projected my son in ways that I know my son would not want to be remembered. And you know, people were calling me, and every time I would look at the news, it would be misinformation on the news. So, you know, I decided that, as I said, you know, my son lost his voice. He was only 21, so I had to become his voice. And I decided, you know, I have a daughter, and I had to live for her also. So as tragic and as hurt and much pain as I was experiencing, I just felt like I have to get back up just for him and let the truth be known. And, you know, maybe I can help others as we all go through this journey of surviving murder.
And it's incredible and commendable for sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Wow. Yeah, gives me chills. Yeah. Can you tell us a little about Justin?
Justin, like I said, he was my baby. He was a mama's boy. He had no problems with anybody knowing he was a mama's boy. He had a great personality, lots of charisma, very well known. I found that out mainly after he died because we live in a high-rise apartment complex, and I would say over 75% of the people came by my house just to express their sympathy, and they would all tell stories about Justin. You know, they would all say, you know, Justin, you know, I'll see him by the elevator, and I had groceries, and, you know, I'll say, Justin, can you help me? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll help you. But when he got there, you know, he's like, are you cooking anything? So he loved to eat. And he always kept people going, you know. He had some of the same friends as a child as he did when he passed away. Wow. Those kids have come to my house for years. And when Justin died, it was something in them that died. And that was another reason that motivated me to just try to get back up and try to bring them together and get them together. Because of what happened with Justin, it was the end of the school year, and I was told that there was a party supposedly going on. We've lived in the Cambridge area ever since Justin was a baby, and he knew many people, as I said, and he was 21 years old. Again, you know, he had this bubbly personality. He went to Cambridge Ranger Latin. They had over 1,600 students there, and he was one of the most popular ones. No enemies, never got in a fight. I never went to school at all for any type of fights or anything going on with him. In fact, you know, I would laugh at him because he would be around the house and he's like, "Mom, these people keep calling me if they have a beef with somebody to come and try to get in, help them out." He's like, "I'm not messing myself up. I'm gonna stay looking good for the girls." You know? So it was just that type of, he was just that type of person.
We'll be there if we need him.
Yes, yes.
But wise. Can you tell us about the Just in Time initiative? When did you start it? What is it about? How people can become involved?
Well, the Just in Time initiative is something that myself and another grandmother, actually, her name is Faye Rackley. She lost her 19-year-old son, Kenneth Rackley, to murder the year after Justin died, actually, in July 25th, 2010. He was at a playground in Roxbury, and someone came by and they shot, and he actually became a victim. And so her and I had attended different groups, and we were just trying to find some way to find peace, to make some sense out of what was going on, you know, try to connect with like minds and people that were experiencing the same type of thing. So, you know, but we weren't being fulfilled. We would go to different groups, and I don't want to say anything so much negative about the groups because they all had the same purpose. But we thought that we could bring something a little bit more to people. So we decided to form the Just in Time initiative, which Just in Time, of course, derived from the name of Justin. Every time we would think about, we want to be here just in time to help others, just in time to motivate someone, just in time to get back up and learn, and just in time, you know. So we came up with the name Just in Time. And Faye and I just decided that we would do a program where it would not only give people the opportunity to talk about their loved ones, but we would also give them a little bit of entertainment. And also we would invite professionals on to share information as we go through this journey of surviving murder. We have had different guests on as far as the Cambridge Police Commissioner, we've had the mayor, we've had all types of professionals on. We also have other people that have experienced murder across the country. Not long ago, we had Dr. Denise Byers on, who lost her son, Lynn Byers. That wasn't a murder, but it was very tragic. And then she had lost another son months later that many people didn't even know about from murder. So we give people the opportunity to highlight their children. And as we said, we want them to bring them forward because we want them to know not one person stands alone.
And then it's interesting. We've attended a number of your shows, and you have people from across the United States.
Yes.
And really accomplished musicians who play music. And so this sounds like it's a support group.
It is.
For those who've lost loved ones, and it's an opportunity to, as you said, for their voice to be elevated, for their memory to stay alive.
Yes, yes. And so many people that is going through this journey don't have a lot of support, or they have reached out and they have had negative things that happen to them. We have been fortunate enough to have one of the DAs that was on Justin's case, who is now the chief of unsolved murders, Dave Solit, to come on and to share information about what it is like to have an unsolved murder, and what people, would do if they are, victims of unsolved crimes, and how they can try to find information or try to obtain information about their loved ones. We have had, as I said, we've had police, politicians, lawyers, doctors. We have had grief counselors that come on and share. So these are different things, like I said, every day people need in order to understand or to want to get back up and, want to keep the memories of their loved ones alive.
Well, I know you have a question, but before, I just need to make the point that we know very clearly that being in support groups, being in communities that are supportive, plays a tremendous role in the healing process.
Yes.
And so what you're doing is incredible on a number of different levels.
Thank you.
I just think that people need to know.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Question.
Well, yeah, well, to practically actually answered it. My next question was, how do you deal with the trauma?
The trauma
Yourself.
is something that you deal with bit by bit, drop by drop, step by step. It's no textbook to it. Everyone experienced it, and everybody deal with it differently. And that's another reason why we're here. We want to motivate people because, as I said, initially, people crash, they burn, and they just, don't want to do anything.
Lose self-worth in it.
Right. Such a big portion of their life have been affected.
Absolutely.
To lose a child is something I never would have thought that I would lose my son. Justin was not the type of person that would favor any kind of weapons. He always stayed away from them. He just was not interested in violence. And for his life to have been taken, by violence was something that it was very hard, very hard.
Can you tell us about the book? Because I know that the book was also, on many different levels, an opportunity for you to address your trauma, but also to help other family members and young people. Can you talk a bit about this book?
Yes, my book is Murder at Harvard's Kirkland House. It is truly a mother's worst nightmare. As I said, I wanted people to know who Justin was. I wanted them to know that, he's just an average kid that grew up 21 years old when he lost his life. And because, I don't think we spoke about it, but I don't have any problems to say how it happened. It was the end of the school year. Justin had been told there was a party or something. Somebody invited him to the campus that he thought was a student. We lived in Cambridge all his young adult life. All his life, basically. And they thought they were having a party, and they asked him, did he know anybody that he could get any marijuana from to help with this party they were having. And He was actually tricked into coming up there and got some marijuana from someone in the neighborhood he knew. He thought he was going to sell it and make a quick sale, and but when he got to the school, someone enticed him to come into the Kirkland house and to come down to the entryway to, I guess, make this exchange. And when he got to the bottom of the stairwell, some other people were there, this guy's friends, which was the boyfriend of the student that was going to Harvard.
Okay.
So he had, and they were from New York. And this boyfriend was staying on the Harvard campus illegally with his girlfriend the whole semester. They were running such as a criminal enterprise, is what the police put it as. They had done other things before. So when he got down there, they pulled a gun on him and had him in this little room where he couldn't really escape. And when he turned around to run, he started to run up the stairs, and one of the other ones had a gun, and they ended up start shooting, and the bullets ricocheted, and one shot Justin in the stomach. Justin continued to run, and he collapsed. So when the media got hold of it, it was this drug dealer, this drug person, and that wasn't who Justin was. So that, enticed me to tell the story, to write the book.
The correct story.
The correct story,
Let me ask you a question. So they know who is responsible. How do you feel about how the criminal justice system handled that? Do you think that?
You could do more.
Actually, I would say overall, I was pleased with the way the criminal justice system handled this situation.
Okay.
I know a lot of people have problems with the criminal justice system and the police. Mm-hmm. However, they did a great deal of investigating and coming up with the story. They were given wrong information when they started investigating about who the girl's boyfriend was that shot Justin, and the whole story about what happened. It was so ludicrous that, they was like, wait a minute, this couldn't have happened. She said her boyfriend was somebody that lived in South Carolina.
Okay.
And then they found out that it was actually somebody that had been living right on campus with her, and he was from New York. Okay. And he had invited his friends there. So the police were constantly in touch with me.
Good.
I think because I was actually truthful with them. I told them my son was 21. I knew he smoked marijuana, but I knew he was not a dealer. He was not selling marijuana like they tried to make it
They
sound.
come out like a drug pen.
Right, like he was a big drug pen or something, and that was definitely not the case, and that is not how my son would want to be remembered. So that enticed me to write the story about Justin, and because Harvard is such a big
Prestigious,
entity,
absolutely.
I could not go up against them, but I was going to tell the story anyways.
All right.
Because it is what it is, and this is the way that it happened, and I don't care who Harvard is or, what assets they have that I don't have. I just wanted the world to know what happened to my son. Could have happened to anybody's child. Yes. He made a bad decision, but that decision should not have caused his death.
Right, absolutely. For people who might be interested in learning more about Just in Time, how to get involved, they may want to, because, or if they have a child that they've lost,
right.
and it doesn't have to only be the murder. I know that you have people who've lost children tragically who attend your meetings. So how often do you meet, and how would somebody check like log in?
Normally we meet twice a month on Zoom. It's on Sunday evenings, always at 6 o'clock when we do meet. We usually announce it on Facebook, Instagram. I'm getting a little bit better with that. I'm not really totally that good, but sometimes we go on Instagram. And a lot of it is by word of mouth. And you know, as you said, we have people that come from all over across the country that join us. We don't have a humongous group, but we have a group of dedicated people and people who enjoy the program and people who benefit from the program. We usually have a link that you can join, and anyone's on Facebook, look up the Just in Time Initiative. Make sure you put in the Just in Time Initiative, because there have been other sites that it's not just in time. And we share who our guests will be and the time that we will have our program. And we invite people that want to bring their children or their loved ones. It don't have to be a child. Could be your husband, your significant other, or whoever. If you want to bring them forward, we are happy to invite you on, have you to say something about them. We show some pictures of them and give you that opportunity to, you know, keep the memory of your loved one present.
Wonderful. You know, trauma, understanding and healing from trauma is of the utmost importance. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
And I think it's important to repeat that being in community, being able to have a voice, not keeping the pain that comes with trauma, having the opportunity to express it and be in an environment that is supportive is of the utmost importance. People really need to be connected with other people.
Yes. Like I said, we want people to know not one person staying alone. We are there with them, we are there for them, and we are there just in time to help lift them up. And to, you know, we can't bring our children back, but we can bring them forward.
Absolutely. Wow, very good.
Wow.
Okay, so I don't know, I guess, what has been the hardest part of this for you? Aside from the tragedy of losing your son, what has been the hardest part of this for you?
I think the hardest part is hearing other people's stories also. You know, everyone has a story, and that is one thing that motivated me to write my book. Your story may not be mine, and mine is not yours, but we all have a story that should be told.
Right.
And so when I listen to other people share their stories and what actually happened to their loved ones, it is very difficult because it brings me right back to my child.
Right.
And who they were and who I wish they were here to continue to be. Justin was such a beautiful spirit, very positive, like I said. The little children loved him. Even on his headstone, I have a picture of him and, you know, a couple of his little cousins he's holding, and, you know, they really loved Justin. And I had to make them understand, you know, Justin is in heaven. And one of the most painful things was when one of my young nephews said, you know, Aunt Denise, Justin's been in heaven a long time. When is he coming back? You know, and that just really, you know, and, you know, when I talked to some of his friends, one of his friends told me, he's like, I'm just so angry with this now, I feel like I'm forgetting his voice, you know, and those are the kind of things when people will say that to me that make me, you know, it's very hard. It's very hard.
Start to relive it again.
Yes, yes. You
It
know,
never goes away.
it never goes
It
away.
never goes away. It never.
And people don't understand when they commit a crime like this, this is not something that you're just doing to that person. You're doing something to the whole, like you say, the community, the family. So many other lives that are being affected because you silenced that person, whatever problem you may have had with them. That's over now.
And so I guess the maybe closing remarks might be to people out there who are carrying a gun, or young people. What would your message be to young people? You know,
I think that people need to think before they act. There are other alternatives to solving problems.
Yes.
No one likes everyone. But to take their life from them, you're not only, like I said, taking their life, you're taking your own life. You know, in this case, there were 3 young people that, you know, someone getting ready to graduate from college on a full scholarship 2 weeks before their graduation that was kicked out of Harvard. There were 2 other young people that spent a significant time in prison. My son is gone. What do you get from this? All over something, a bag of weed, really?
Right.
Nobody got anything.
Nobody gained out of that.
Nobody gained anything. So, you know, I think young people need to think about other ways to solve problems, and, you know,
absolutely.
there are other ways that you can solve problems, and you still don't have to like everybody, but you don't have to kill them.
Exactly. Yes. And for those who are caught up, who in your case, family members who are suffering, reach out, do something.
Yes.
You know, don't suffer alone. It doesn't work well when you try to go it alone.
No.
So we want to thank you tremendously for sharing your story and sharing how you've dealt with some of the ways that you've dealt with your trauma, because it's real, and trauma doesn't dissipate, it doesn't go away on its own, it doesn't evaporate. You have to do something with that trauma.
That's right.
And so you've done some incredibly constructive things to help other people in your grief.
Thank you. I'd just like to say one more thing too, that you can order my book online.
Yes.
At murder@harvardkirklandhouse.com. Murder@harvardkirklandhouse.com. Or if you want to be on the Just in Time Initiative, email me at survivingmurder1@gmail.com.
Wonderful, thank you. So thank you to our guest, Denise Cosby, for being here with us today. Thank you for watching Confronting Injustice. For James Watson and for myself, Linda Solomon, we will see you next time. Be well.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.